What up, Wade here. So today what I want to talk about, inspired conversation related to our Syndicate Facebook private group. And they're currently doing a little thing where each one of them are showing their morning routine. And it kind of got me inspired to think about how my morning routine has changed because I've made it very public over the years. I'd say there's probably thousands of people around the world that drink a lemon water at the start of the day and bulletproof coffee. So hopefully I'll take full credit for that. That was all me. No, I'm just kidding. Can't see my sarcastic eyes here. But what I want to get into today is what I call the lazy man, in quotations, guide to productivity. Because if you heard a lot of what I've been talking about over the last few weeks, I've noticed a lot lately with the millennial generation, people between 18 and 35 basically, how they have so much pressure put on themselves, so much stress, they're super self-critical, they're beating themselves up, they don't think they're good enough, and that leads to a lot of unhealthy things. It leads to an unhealthy lifestyle and a life out of balance that's not very happy, that's not very fulfilled, that's too busy wistfully reaching for the future instead of enjoying the moment, and also just being more productive when you're coming at things from the right way. So what I want to do is get into 5 specific lazy man productivity hacks that some ways some people could think, oh man, you're being lazy. But if you look at it from a deeper perspective, you realize, holy shit, this leads to me being more productive and living a happier, more fulfilled life. The place we shall start is at the start of the day. And you've heard me talk most likely many times about the morning routine. Biggest thing I'll say here is it's symbolic to start off your day with structure, leading into the most important thing. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. It might be things that you're already doing, but to say, hey, I'm gonna have some structure here, that changes everything. And so that alone is a huge thing. For me, the difference nowadays compared to before, first is I wake up much earlier. So for the last few months, I've had a lot on my plate. And what I've been doing is waking up at 6 a.m. And that has been a huge, huge increase to my productivity. Because by 1 p.m., you're like, shit, I've done so much work. I've done more work. It's like 12 hours of work. That doesn't add up, but you feel like you've done a full day's worth of work by lunchtime, and it's just amazing. The other thing that's changed in my morning routine is before I do anything, I wake up, immediately get out of bed, don't look at my smartphone, have a glass of water quick, and I sit down and I meditate, relax, and get comfortable. And this is one of those things, it's one of the first things that when all of a sudden you got a lot of shit on your plate, you're really busy, and you're thinking, I don't have time for that. One of the first things that goes is the meditation, but you gotta take the lazy man's approach, or it feels lazy to some, it feels guilty to some. Meditation is just huge for just clarity of mind, clarity of purpose. Your decisions, you're more decisive in what you're doing. You have a higher consciousness, so you're making decisions from a better place. And you do end up being more productive. You have a much more better meta overview, objectivity, not making decisions out of stress, not making decisions out of overwhelm, or even more harsh emotions. And so it hugely has a great impact on a productive impact on my life about just sitting there and thinking about deep thoughts. Another change that I've made is related to Pomodoro technique. You might have heard me talk about this before, where you work for 45 minutes, mono-focused, then you take a break. And another one of those things when you really kind of inculcate the hustler's mindset of thinking, I'm gonna push on through, I'm gonna work harder than my competition. Another thing that goes to the wayside is taking significant breaks. And as much as I did that for years, it's led to a lot of negative, bad, unproductive sort of experiences, whether that be health related, whether that be social related to relationships falling apart, friends, family, significant other, things like that. And so if you want to live that fulfilled life where you're growing in every area, the balance comes from forcing, having the self-discipline to take some time off. And so for me, I have a bunch of new sort of fun ways to take time off. And again, it's hilarious. It's doing shit like this, like I'm walking around, it's during the day and just relaxing, staring at the waves for a little bit. That made me feel guilty. Reading fiction has been awesome. I'm reading the Game of Thrones, like 5-part book series there. Awesome reading that. It doesn't help you self-develop, but it does help with a lot of other aspects of for my internal visual, being able to visualize better and things like that. It's been huge. Riding the skateboard, awesome. Always do that every summer on the boardwalk over here. It's just super slick. It's one of my favorite things to do. It just makes you so present to the moment. And going upstairs and using the pool. I go and run, work up a sweat, or just go swim for a little while. I still battle a little bit of feeling a little bit guilty there. But when I do that, at least 3 a day, when I have 3 of those in a day, I get way more done and I wake up the next day more relaxed and more centered to go doing it again the next day. Because that's another thing, people think way too short term, and they think, you know what, I still do it a few days a month. I hit it those 18-hour work days, but then it fucks me up for the next day because you're thinking short term instead of playing the long game. Where do you want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now? The way to do that properly is through balance. On the same topic of thinking more long term instead of short term, if you want that feeling of fulfillment, growing in every aspect of your life, it takes a lot of balance, and you're not going to be able to achieve it in one day. And so one of the big things I talk about in the 3I time system is actually how to structure your week as well as quarterly goals too. So you have both in there. And one of the big ones, I guess, right here, like we always film on Tuesdays. And that's because you can build momentum. I focused my Tuesdays just on this. My team knows that. I don't have any coaching calls on Tuesdays. Even with coaching sessions, if I think more monthly, I do a week in the business and a week on the business. So I do 1 week in the business coaching, doing a lot of Skype calls. Then it's just 1 week on the business where it's writing sales copy, structuring content, and things like that. So by thinking more long term, and related to the lazy man's guide, is the day of recovery. And what this is choosing at least to start 1 day a week for 24 hours from midnight to midnight, no breaks in between, where you don't even open the laptop, where you turn off all notifications, to where no work is done, nothing productive can be done. And for me, this used to be during football season. I just watched football for 12 hours, hang out with my girlfriend, and then eat pizza. So it turned into like a cheat day as well. Having that 1 day a week, it resets you. And you might say, you know, I used to think, you know what, I can just do like lighter. I can do 1 or 2 hours of work, and the tightness kicks in, the motivation goes through the roof, the pressure leading to, I don't even like using the word, stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. So you need that day, like I said, 24 hours, midnight to midnight, day of recovery, lazy man's guide to productivity. Next up is using your body as a biofeedback loop. So if you're getting sick regularly, if you're feeling a little tired, if you're a little stressed out, and you came to this video hoping that I'd give you a little answer, a little solution to get rid of the stress, to stop being sick, or to stop being so tired, is what is the energy fix? What it is being proactive and listening to your body. When you get tired, it's not a time to slam a Red Bull. When you get sick, that means you probably got to get more sleep. It's the same thing with the tired thing. And if you get stressed, it's the meditation can help. The massages can help, eating cleaner, that stuff can help. But the bigger issue is you need to be proactive and choose a better response. If you're stressed out about your finals, you probably didn't study when you should have. You probably didn't set that up properly there. If you're stressed out about work, it's the same thing. Maybe you set bad boundaries there of saying you took on too much, you took on too many projects, you're a little bit too impatient with the success that you want to have. So all of a sudden you're cranking things up and you're grinding harder than you should. If you're too tired, it's the same thing there too, to where, hey, maybe you didn't get enough sleep last night. And if you say, hey, I just couldn't, that's just how it worked, it means you didn't plan the week ago properly. You didn't plan a month ago. You didn't have those days of recovery in there. And so what it really comes down to is, instead of little hacks, instead of little patches to solve the moment, listen to your body and set everything aside. And so as I was talking about before with the Pomodoros and things like that, there are times where I wanted so bad to just keep working. I just was so like, man, I just got so much on my plate right now. I got so much to do. The last thing truly I want to do is go upstairs and hit the pool or go to the gym or something like that. But when I didn't, boom, I'd get an ulcer. Boom, I'd get a migraine. Boom, I'd get sick again because I was burning the midnight oil there. Instead, when I've been more proactive, just as I was saying earlier, I'm much more clear focused. You're thinking at things from a much higher level. You're not in that running around like a chicken with your head cut off, putting out fires. You're coming from a much more strategic, meta level focus. So listen to your body. So, lazy man's guide to productivity. And what I said by that again is, it's not actually lazy. But a lot of people, the hustler mindset, they feel like they're being lazy. They feel guilty, like they're not doing enough. They feel that if they're taking their foot off the gas, what it leads to is settling for mediocrity. It's settling for complacency, and they're thinking, oh man, I need to push it even harder. And that's just not the case. You're thinking way too short term there. And you need to look at the larger perspective, play the long game, and say to yourself, okay, what do I need to do today? How can I be proactive So long term, I'm winning on a much higher level, so that I'm thinking more meta level, getting that altitude and not being stuck in the weeds and stressing out and making decisions from a poor place. And so I think what would be good to kind of finalize this video out here is we actually have a little guide to sleep hacks. It's cool. It's like my 10 top tips for sleep hacks. It incorporates a couple of these, and there's a bunch of other ones too, to really get the good night's sleep, recover properly, and start your day off right. So to get that, all you got to do, there'll be a little link below. Click on the link, and as always, enjoy.